I woke in a field of nothing, lying next to the girl with the blackberry hair. The sound of deafening silence filled the grey sky. I turned to my left to see her there, still, her eyes closed, her lip quivering. She jolted awake, her eyes darting around, then staring into mine, staring for a long while, enthralling. Her skin was tan and cool, like wet sand on a shore. Her eyes shone like the moon, barren and lifeless, yet strangely captivating. But her wavy hair was something otherworldly. Only a bit past her shoulders, a blackberry tint, an infinite cosmos. I had never seen a girl like her before, but somehow it felt like I had known her, like I was meeting an old childhood friend. Her eyes darted up and down my body, almost studying my form. I felt embarrassed. It didn't seem to matter to her though. Then after gazing at one another for a moment, she promptly stood up, holding out her hand. I hesitated, but she said nothing, only looking down and smiling at me. I grabbed her hand, excited yet afraid as she pulled me up. Her skin was rougher than I expected, coarse like mine. Then she glanced back at me and nodded her head. Holding my hand, she suddenly began running off into the nothingness. For miles it stretched on, nobody but us, a vast array of empty. As she ran, I trailed behind her, losing my breath. She often looked back and smiled to make sure I was okay. I wasn't. I only smiled back. But the more I ran, the better I felt. And soon, I caught up with her, passing her even. We ran for what seemed like an eternity, maybe because it was. Now I looked back, grinning with happy eyes, and I felt a feeling I hadn't felt in a long time. Maybe we'll be okay, I thought. Maybe then I'll be okay. Then, in the distance, I spotted a bridge atop a small stream, aiding the expectant traveler looking to cross. We ran towards it, glad to finally see something in the nothing. Once we arrived, she propped herself atop the bridge's handrail and slowly began walking across. She stuck her arms out to balance herself, switching her gaze between her feet and me. She couldn't help but laugh. It was a contagious laugh, the kind that makes you feel warm just by listening to it. She made it across and cheered, dancing in her delight. I couldn't help but dance too. And there we were, dancing forever and ever, without a care in the world, on this bridge of nothing. And I thought to myself, oh, how nothing could ever ruin this. Fascinating. After we danced, we ran for a while longer, until we were both entirely out of breath. We slowed to a walk as we gazed at each other now and again. She smiled softer now, a sadder smile. I thought something might be wrong, but I chose not to mention it. It didn't seem important enough at the time. Tired, we sat in the field, our cheeks red and our hair messy. Her knees were touching her chest as she wrapped her arms around her legs, while I sat cross-legged with my hands on my lap. Without a word, without troubles, without doubt. I was always so burdened with what I should be doing. Maybe this was it all along. Maybe the purpose of all of this was to be here, right now, living in this moment with her. I was never sure about anything, but right then and there, I was more sure of anything in my life. Please God, I said to myself, if you're really out there, this is perfectly enough. I just want this. Then I'll be content. Then I'll be happy. I gazed at her once more, this time more intently. A subtle kind of gaze so as to not attract her attention. She was wearing a sky blue tank top and a pair of dark blue denim shorts. On her feet were a pair of worn out sneakers. It was quite fitting, quite captivating, like the ocean had taken form. It was a surreal experience looking at her. It seems as though I paled in comparison. Yet, after all this time, she still looked at me with the same bittersweet smile. It was like she so desperately wanted to tell me something, but couldn't find the right words, so she decided to say nothing at all. I was the same. It didn't matter to me though. I hadn't felt my life in so long. It was strange seeing it again. I choose this existence. I choose her. Naivete. Still, I adored her with every fiber of my being now. What was months felt like weeks, what was weeks felt like days, what was days felt like minutes, and what was minutes felt like years. At a certain point, the hours melded together, a kaleidoscope of time that only she and I were in. And so we laid in the field for a while, gazing at the nothingness above. No sky, no clouds, no sun. I really didn't know where I was, but who cares? It didn't matter to me then, and it certainly didn't matter to me now. Still, she looked up solemnly, a longing in her eyes for something beyond. I wish there was something I could do, but all I could do was be there. Hopefully, that was enough. But with each passing decade, or nanosecond, or who knows how long, she seemed to grow more tired, gazing more intently at me, gazing more intently at the grey above her. It was only a matter of time before she told me, lying in the field like always. She never said a word, but I knew she was speaking to me, an unspoken bond of sorts. She told me, I'm going to be gone soon, very soon. I'm not supposed to be here. I wasn't supposed to meet someone like you. And I want you to know that it's going to be okay. Live your life without me. I know it's going to be hard, but I can't bear to see you sad. Please, please, if you can't do it for yourself, do it for me. You're wonderful. You're wonderful. You're wonderful. Don't let anyone else tell you differently. She began fading away, her eyes closing, her lip quivering. She didn't make a sound, only tears streamed down her paling cheeks as she smiled softly once more. I grabbed onto her shoulders and pulled her close. Before it was too late, I had to tell her, I love her. Then, all at once, like it wasn't anything at all, I felt nothing. I felt a feeling then that I hadn't felt in a long time, a familiar feeling. Alone. I hated it. There was nothing I could do, but I blamed myself. I'll get over it, I thought. But it wouldn't make a difference, because by then, it would be the memories we never had. Because by then, she'd be long gone. But I'd still be here. The girl with the blackberry hair told me I was everything. She told me I was splendid. She told me I was grand. She told me I was lovely. She told me I was all. The girl with the pretty eyes and the rough skin and the cool gaze and the charming smile and the blackberry hair had lied. Will I ever be okay again? Yes. Yes, I would. I just didn't know it then. But now I sleep in a field of nothing, not even lying next to the girl with the blackberry hair.